New speed reduction changes go in effect 2023.
Community graduates get an up-close look into Tacoma Police.
And we've got info on preventing smelly recycle bin containers.
These stories and more on Tacoma Report. Hi, I'm Laura Proctor.
And I'm Angie Foster. This year brings with it new speeds right here in Tacoma. Stacey Elliffer has more on what this change looks like on residential streets and in 4 business districts.
In February 2020, Tacoma City Council adopted Vision Zero and the goal of eliminating traffic fatalities and serious injuries by 2035. Upon adoption of Vision Zero, Tacoma committed to the safe systems approach.
Instead of seeing traffic deaths as the norm or blaming the individual, Vision Zero instead sees traffic deaths as preventable and instead looks at the systems that need to be improved in order to make our streets safer for all users.
One of the systems is called Safe Speeds. Higher vehicle speeds, even by 5 miles per hour, can make the difference between someone being fatally injured in a traffic crash or coming away with minor injuries.
The focus of Vision Zero is to bring those driver speeds down, whether it be looking at streets where the conditions are in place that we can just change the speed limit, or identifying those streets and those infrastructure improvements that are necessary in order to change that driver behavior and make the speeds come down.
This past summer, Council also passed a speed reduction ordinance, which lowers the default speed on residential streets and the arterial streets in 4 neighborhood business districts.
Speed limits are being lowered on our residential streets from 25 miles per hour to 20 miles per hour. Residential streets are those streets that go through our neighborhoods, where you mainly see housing or parks or our schools. Speed limits are also being lowered on streets within our neighborhood business districts. 4 of those neighborhood business districts, which are having speed limits lowered from 30 miles per hour to 25 miles per hour, are Old Town, 6th Avenue, Lincoln, and McKinley Hill.
There are 2 neighborhood business districts that are already 25 miles per hour. Those are South Tacoma and Proctor. The effective date for these new speed limits on residential streets and the 4 business districts is January 1st, 2023.
And at that time, drivers can expect to go a lower speed limit. In the business districts, you'll see signs changed out that'll alert you that there's a new speed limit. It's not always the case on our residential streets. So just know that when you enter a residential area, it is now 20 miles per hour.
As part of Vision Zero, Tacoma joins other cities in the United States and around the world that have chosen to reevaluate and lower local speed limits as a benefit to their community.
Residential streets really are shared spaces. It's where children learn how to ride their bikes. It's where our school walking routes are located. It's where the bike boulevards are. And if people don't have a sidewalk in their neighborhood, it's a place where they can walk or roll, and they should be able to do so safely. Neighborhood business districts are where a higher amount of pedestrians are located. It's where people come together to be part of their neighborhood, to visit small businesses, restaurants, and coffee shops. Slower speeds make streets safer for everyone and create those walkable, bikeable communities.
For Tacoma Report, I'm Stacey Elliffer.
To find out more about speed limit reduction and the next steps for Vision Zero, visit the city's website.
Protecting the water that we drink is an important job, and it includes a multidisciplinary and multi-agency approach. The City of Tacoma, Tacoma Water, Tacoma Pierce County Health Department, and the partnerships with businesses helps keep the groundwater under South Tacoma healthy and clean.
The STGPD really focuses on pollution prevention. So the idea is that we keep things from getting outside, and by outside I mean to the ground. And so that's where our goal is, to work with businesses to really make those proactive changes so that we can protect the entire area.
Protection of the groundwater supply is very important. Every one of our groundwater sources has what's called sanitary control areas, where certain activities are not even allowed within them. And with that South Tacoma Groundwater Protection District, businesses in it are regulated. There's regular routine inspections that go on, corrective actions that say for spill concerns, certain chemicals and certain quantities will dictate what type of rules people have to follow.
To learn more about the protections, visit the webpage.
Home in Tacoma is a public process that will result in middle housing zoning standards and actions to ensure housing meets multiple goals. There are several ways to get involved in Phase 2, including taking the city survey, attending an event, engaging on our online platform, or providing public comment. More information will be arriving in Tacoma mailboxes in January, and to find out when and how to participate sooner, visit the webpage.
Tacoma Homelessness Services providers initiate severe weather protocol anytime the weather forecast is below 32 degrees or below 35 degrees and rainy. The city is partnering with the Tacoma Rescue Mission and Catholic Community Services to provide additional beds during inclement weather response. This additional shelter capacity is anticipated to meet the needs of the community, and the city does not anticipate a need for a dedicated city-operated warming center this year. Tacoma Rescue Mission will expand operations by 50 beds at Holy Rosary for inclement weather season now through March 2023. During inclement weather, shelter beds are available at Catholic Community Services, which will open 40 inclement weather beds at the Nativity House. Tacoma Rescue Mission will also expand operations to provide 35 inclement weather beds at their main campus.
Tacoma has a lot of steep slopes, and you may not know that they are protected under the state and city's critical areas code. These slopes provide an important function.
Steep slopes are common throughout the city. They're classified as having a grade of slope greater than 10%, usually between 10 and 40%.
Portions of the Salmon Beach Slope and other city-managed steep slopes, such as Schuster Slope, are historically feeder bluffs, so that means that in their natural state, they are eroding slowly into the sound, and they're supplying Puget Sound beaches with a flow of sediment. But where we have constrained those feeder bluffs, it's really important to maintain healthy plant communities.
Maintaining the health of these areas helps protect Tacoma's people and infrastructure from surface or superficial landslides. Having a diversity of native plants can help stabilize slopes as well as provide stormwater benefits for the city.
To learn more about steep slopes and other critical areas, visit the city's webpage. Next up, we'll be taking a focus look into the Home in Tacoma program.
And I'll be talking with the project manager, Elliot Barnett, on how this affects our area. Joining us in the studio is Elliot Barnett, Senior Planner and the Home in Tacoma Project Manager. Welcome to the show, Elliot.
Thank you so much, Laura. Great to be here.
Thank you so much. We appreciate you taking the time out to come in on the show today. So, Elliot, can you start out by giving us a little bit of the backstory on why the city is undertaking Home in Tacoma and updating the city's residential zoning?
It's my pleasure. Well, one of the things that we hear the most down at City Hall, anytime we go talk with the community, it's housing. People tell us that they are struggling, either they are experiencing homelessness, or they may have a house, but they're struggling to keep it and pay for it, or find a new one. So housing has been one of the top problems for our city for a good while now, and it's getting worse, unfortunately. And Home in Tacoma is part of the city's bigger strategy. We've got a full comprehensive plan to try to help people connect with housing. That's called the Affordable Housing Action Strategy. So we're doing all kinds of strategies to help people get their housing needs met. And Home in Tacoma is part of that. It focuses on our zoning rules, the rules for what gets built where. And Council has decided that we need to make some changes so that those zoning rules reflect our community values and help people to get the housing needs or housing built that will then help them meet their needs.
Awesome. Thank you for that information. Sounds like an amazing program, So the next question is a two-part. Can you define missing middle? And is there an example of a neighborhood in Tacoma that has the mix that Home in Tacoma is encouraging?
Absolutely. Missing middle housing refers to housing types which you can see around you today in many of our older neighborhoods of the city. These are smaller, attached, or sometimes multifamily housing, things like duplexes, townhouses, courtyards, or small apartment buildings. They exist in many of our older neighborhoods, but then in the 1950s, cities like Tacoma decided we're going to kind of clean things up and we're going to stop allowing those naturally more affordable housing types in most of our neighborhoods. And that's when single-family zoning came along. And now you can no longer build many of those housing types that you'd see in Hilltop, in the North Slope, the Lincoln District, lots of our older neighborhoods around the city. So, and they also help us to live in the neighborhoods that we want to live in and be able to walk to things. And that's another way to stay healthy and save money.
Absolutely, absolutely. And Elliot, can you let our viewers know why it's important for people to actively participate in the discussion about housing and specifically zoning?
Absolutely, it's really important because everybody has a huge stake in both housing and in our neighborhoods. Obviously we all need a roof over our heads, but we also need to be able to make ends meet. We need to be able to have the type of housing that works for us, our family, or our household. And that might mean a house, but it also might mean something where you can have roommates or live with family. So making all those things available is really important, and we need to hear from people about what those priorities are. And then also everybody cares about our neighborhoods, and we want to retain what we love about our neighborhoods and get more of those types of qualities. So every one of us is an expert on our own neighborhoods, and we need your participation.
Absolutely. And so when would people start to see their neighborhood change?
Right. So we're just getting started now with another big round of public engagement. We're trying to invite the whole city, the whole community to the table and to help us get Home in Tacoma right. And so you'll be seeing mailers inviting you to come participate through surveys and other things like in-person meetings. So right now we're asking everybody to sign up for updates, go visit the webpage, and learn how you can start to participate starting in early 2023. Then over the course of 2023, we'll be developing new rules, taking those through a very involved and an open public process. And we anticipate the City Council will adopt those rules towards the end of 2023. Then after that, that's when people can actually start to see change starting in their neighborhood. And that will happen slowly over time. So, it's going to be a slow process. Doesn't happen tomorrow. That's both good and bad. That means, you're not going to see your neighborhood change overnight, but it also means that the housing doesn't immediately appear and start serving our needs. So starting in 2024 and on into the years, you'll start to see those changes.
Well, and it sounds like one of the big takeaways for our viewers is the importance of them getting involved and voicing their opinion, giving their feedback, because that's also going to play a part in how this program progresses.
It absolutely is. Because this is an issue that we all do care about, that's important to all of us, and there are many different perspectives, and all that information is really essential. The city and our city council really want and need to hear from everyone, whatever your take on this is. So please do participate.
Awesome. Well, Elliot, we appreciate you so much for coming on the show and letting our viewers know what Home in Tacoma is all about, and we hope you'll come back and see us again soon.
If you'll have me, thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you, Elliot. When we return, we've got information on keeping your curbside recycle bins clean. Curbside bins take on a dirty but important job. Stacey Elliford has more on service types, sizes, and how to set out and maintain residential bins.
Tacoma's Solid Waste Management has a variety of residential curbside bins. There's garbage, food and yard waste, and recycling containers that are offered in a range of sizes.
Garbage containers are available in 30, 45, 60, or 90-gallon sizes, and blue recycling containers and brown food and yard waste containers are available in various sizes depending on your needs. Green garbage containers are available at different sizes for different monthly rates. Customers can request up to 2 brown food and yard waste containers and as many blue recycling containers as they need for no additional cost.
Once customers have their bins, it's important that they follow certain set-out guidelines on their collection day, like placing bins with wheels to the curb and having them spaced at least 4 feet apart, among other steps to follow.
It's like making sure that your containers are out on the curb by 7 a.m. every morning, and making sure that they're clear of obstructions like other bins, vehicles, trees, or buildings, so that our collection crews can collect them safely.
These containers go through a lot, and solid waste management encourages customers to keep them clean.
It is the responsibility of the customer to keep your bins reasonably clean. Solid waste will replace your bin if it's damaged or vandalized, but not because it's dirty or smelly.
One of the easiest ways to keep green garbage containers clean is by bagging and tying all of your garbage. And really messy loads should be double bagged and tied.
But it's important to remember that items that go in your blue recycling container and brown food and yard waste bin should never be bagged. Recyclable items should be empty, clean, and dry before they go loose in your container to help prevent spills. And food and yard waste should not have excess liquids and/or grease.
If customers find a spill or leak in their container, there are some easy ways to reduce any unpleasant odors or grime.
We encourage customers to spray and rinse their containers occasionally with a hose. If your container does get especially dirty and you need to use a cleaner or some other kind of agent to get it clean, you can use something natural like baking soda and vinegar or a mild dish detergent. That'll help prevent stormwater pollution when you do dump your bins, but also help keep your containers clean.
Proper bin placement and maintenance can help on collection day and contributes to a healthy environment and cleaner Tacoma. For Tacoma Report, I'm Stacey Ellifrit.
For more information on these services, visit the city site at cityoftacoma.org/solid waste.
This year's Tacoma Police Department Citizens Academy just wrapped up. Tacoma community members who participated were presented by department subject matter experts an up-close and personal look at the way the Tacoma Police Department is organized, its numerous sections, and how they all serve the residents of Tacoma. This strengthens the bond between our community members and our police officers as we proactively work together to solve a variety of complex community challenges.
I wanted to come to do this so that when I hear negative things from people in the neighborhood, I can have a little bit of information to share with them as to why things are done the way they're done with the police department.
The goal of the Citizens Academy is to create a growing core of well-informed community members who are proud of their police department and who can serve as ambassadors who share their experiences with and knowledge about law enforcement with other community members.
I thought, it would be pretty useful to be able to come out, learn about the police department, what kind of things they're doing out in the city and the community, ask questions, and just, really kind of soak it up so I can go forward.
The next class starts in the fall, September 6th. For more information about the program or to apply, visit the webpage.
The holidays are a great time to reflect and give thanks, and the Tacoma Fire Department is grateful for community support. Safety is the department's top priority. Firefighters, EMTs, and paramedics put their lives on the line every day. This past year, the department started a mental health program to help first responders manage trauma and stress. Last year, TFD responded to 53,500 emergency calls, 80% of which were EMS related. Tacoma Fire Department provides life-saving service and ambulance transport for non-life-threatening injuries that still require hospital treatment and fire suppression. They also opened Fire Station 5 to better serve the Tacoma Tide Flats and the Northeast Tacoma neighborhood. To learn more about the services TFD provides, visit cityoftacoma.org/fire.
Do you have old burned out holiday lights? If so, bring them to the Tacoma Recycle Center at 3510 South Mullen Street in Tacoma. Lights and wires are accepted for recycling all year round, but if lights are part of a decorative frame, be sure to remove that and recycle them separately. In addition to holiday light recycling, starting December 26th through January 15th, the Recycle Center will accept unflocked, undecorated Christmas trees without stands. To find out more about holiday light recycling or Christmas tree disposal, contact Solid Waste Management.
December 10th was declared Joe Coy Day in Tacoma. This was in honor of the Tacoma natives' return for a sold-out performance at the Tacoma Dome. That same day, before his performance, the comedian accepted Tacoma's key to the city from Mayor Victoria Woodards.
But one thing I love the most about Tacoma is the community. Like all my friends, I still talk about them to this day. You know, it's what molded me. It's what made me who I am. One thing that I did a lot here was watch comedy. I watched a lot of comedy, a lot of stand-up comedy. And I always told myself I'm going to be a stand-up comedian.
The Foss High School graduate has come a long way as he is currently touring around the globe on his Funny is Funny World Tour.
The annual Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. birthday celebration is back in person in 2023. This event honors the winners of the Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Community Service Awards. These awards recognize excellence in community service activities carried out by an individual or group and encourage similar efforts by others who want to serve in their community. The event is taking place at the Greater Tacoma Convention Center starting at 11 a.m. on Monday, January 16th. For more information about the event, visit the city's website. That wraps up this edition of Tacoma Report.
A great way to find out about the services the City of Tacoma has to offer is by going to cityoftacoma.org.
We leave you now on a night walk with downtown light art through the Tacoma Light Trail. I'm Angie Foster.
And I'm Laura Proctor. Thanks for watching.